Each question that will be handed to me will be answered by all of the candidates, and I think again what we'll do is start with Mr. Dillingham and just work down this way. The first question is, please share an example in which you showed leadership and improved your neighborhood or community and did not receive financial compensation. Mr. Dillingham.
Well, nothing I've done received financial contributions on that. In the community, I've been, several things come to mind. I serve on several boards right now. I'm on the Children's Mercy Board of Advocates Board. I'm also on the Greater Kansas City United Way Board, and I'm the incoming chair of the United Way up north. And I think that's a great example. I've been on that board for a while, also on the Tri-County Mental Health Board up north. Serving all those, I've done that for a while. I try to see where there's needs available. I try to also bring people together. I think that's been a hallmark of my family and also of me that I've carried on. I like bringing people into the organizations from all over the community and trying to build up these organizations. I've done that in those and will continue. I've done that in the United Way. I'm looking forward to this next year where I will chair it. I think that, like many things, the Northland is not getting its fair share, and so I'm excited to get some more money up here for the different agencies in Clay County and Platte County.
It's a tough question for me. I spent 7 years as an active duty officer and I moved a lot. And when I was not on active duty, I spent 4 years in a public accounting firm. I traveled Monday through Friday pretty much for 4 years. So when I can, I volunteer with the church in Alaska as a youth group leader for our Catholic organization up there. And I helped out as much as I could with trash pickup when I was with the Army Recruiting Battalion here in the Kansas City area. We did a lot of things to help out. One of our funding projects that we did was help out with Habitat for Humanity. It was one of the things that my company worked on when I was at the Infantry Officer Basic course in Fort Benning, Georgia. We took time off from our training to go and help build homes, which was very rewarding for me. So it's tough when you're traveling as much as I did to really get involved with the community. And now that my schedule is opened up, I'm starting to get more and more involved by doing other things.
Before I was on the council, I served on the city's Public Improvements Advisory Committee as a volunteer. Did that for almost 4 years. It's a citizen, 13-member committee that advised the council on the capital budget, how we spend it, do roads, parks, etc. In 2005, there were 3 main projects in the 2nd District. North Oak, north Oak Trafficway, north of Metro North Mall, Berry Road out by Weatherby Lake, and the Gower Connector at 6468. None of them have started construction, and the staff came back and said, they are all underfunded. We do not have enough money to do these projects. You're going to have to give up a project. Which one are you going to give up? And I said, we are not giving up a project. I made calls to Ryan Silby, got $1 billion in federal funds for North Oak. We downsized Berry Road to 3 lanes instead of 4, and we held the line on 64th and 68th. Now, Gower's done, or mostly done, and Berry's under construction, going to be done next year, and North Oak is done. So we got it done, and I did that for free.
I've served in dozens of capacities as an unpaid volunteer. I'd like to speak quickly about 3 of them. One is more fun in government. I'm a Royal Lancer, so our job for the last 20 years has been to sell season tickets and keep the Kansas City Royals alive. I lived at Gladstone my initial years in Kansas City, and I'm particularly proud of the fact that I chaired Gladstone on the Move. For those of you that know Gladstone, the most impressive thing we did was build the community center as one of the recommendations from Gladstone on the Move. After I moved to Kansas City, I was appointed to the Northland Neighborhoods Board, an association of about 90 neighborhoods north of the river. I'm now serving as president. Northland Neighborhoods has done just a terrific job of making City Hall accountable. Twice a month we have a meeting at Northland Neighborhoods where we have city council representatives and staff from different city departments, and people get real answers. Why can't I get my culvert fixed? Why can't I get this street fixed? And they get good answers. And what I think we've been able to do is make people think that City Hall is accountable and staffed well. It's been quite an achievement.
Dana Kennedy, District 1 at large. One of the jobs that I do in my community is I'm the vice chair of Cooley Highlands Neighborhood Association, and I facilitate a lot of cleanup projects in our neighborhood. But one thing that I'm most proud of is the opportunities that I have to work with youth. As the director of a non-for-profit organization, we feel that it is vitally important to our growth in our communities to give positive opportunities for our youth. And we hold coffee houses and picnics and carnivals during the summer for youth, giving them the alternative to which would be crime, something not positive. We teach them that they are valuable and that they have a say in this life, and their say starts with a positive outreach. That is something that is vitally important to me, and I plan on continuing. And yes, I did not make a dime to do that. Thank you very much.
Scott Wagner, 1st District at large. There are a number of boards that I've served on over the years, and you can look on my website to find those, but I'm going to focus on 2 things. One was in the Northeast area, we have hundreds of kids who do soccer. And 4 years ago, they did not have a single goal in the Northeast area in which to play in. There were coaches who wanted leagues. They wanted places for their kids to play. I, as a neighborhood association president, work with Parks and Recreation and a number of city departments. And 4 years ago, we got those goals and we got that league started. Today, there are 700 kids in that soccer league. We've been working on a Northeast Community Center that was promised in the city plan since 1947. Working again with the Parks Department and the city, we have $2.8 million going into the location of 9th and Van Brunt, which was the old KC trolley barn, and they're turning dirt later this month that will bring more soccer fields into that area. And we're still working on getting the building built. And I didn't get paid 1 cent for it.
Thank you. The August Screening Committee tells me that there are lots of questions about the earnings tax. And this is the question we have. In this case, Mr. Johnson, we'll begin with you, and then work down to Mr. Wagner, and then come back over. With the upcoming election in April, the Kansas City earnings tax is a much discussed issue. Recently, the National Association of Insurance Commissioners was granted a 50% rebate on the earnings tax for their employees to keep them from moving their business out of Kansas City. Do you think this is an appropriate method to attract new business and retain existing businesses? If so, what do you think that this says about the earnings tax and its effect on attracting and retaining business in Kansas City? Mr. Johnson.
Well, the easy answer is on the Kansas City, Missouri side, we are in a battle with Kansas. And I'm not ashamed to say that I don't like the Johnson County people and the fact that they stole jobs from us. I'm a Northlander, and I'm going to fight for the city of Kansas City, Missouri, and for the Northland. Now that said, the state of Kansas has an incentive program by which they basically give back all the state income tax to the company. That's like 6% of every person that works there. We do not have anything that compares to that in Missouri, and so when someone says, hey, Kansas is offering us $50 million to move, what can you do for us? About the only tool we have is the earnings tax. We don't really have a lot of other sources of tools. So as a city, we can compete with any city in the country, but we cannot compete against an entire state. And that's what's going on right there.
I'd have to agree with Russ. I didn't like the decision, I didn't like the options the city council was faced with, but if I had to vote for it, I would have voted yes. I have seen the tough reality of job after job, employer after employer moving from Missouri to Kansas. Kansas just has absolutely better incentives, and they use it to take advantage of Kansas City. And I don't like Kansas City being an incubator for Johnson County jobs. So was the decision one I liked? No. Was it the decision I would have voted for? Yes, I would have.
Dana Kennedy, 1st District at large. I believe that it is important to offer certain incentives to businesses to stay in Kansas City. I would, however, like to see our city cut the red tape for small businesses, making it easier and smoother of a process for them. I'd like to see the city treat our small businesses as though we really value them and need them here and want them here. I think that if we treat our small businesses as though they're important to us and we assist them in being the strongest as they can be, then when larger businesses come in, we won't be losing our small businesses. That's how I feel. Thank you.
Scott Wagner, 1st District at Large. In this case, the small business is several hundred jobs. And there's that old saying of desperate times call for desperate measures, and I think what Russ and Dick alluded to is the problem that we're in. What this is going to take to deal with, and I guess I should say, if you're asking, is my preference to give those earnings taxes away? No, it's not. But what I would like to do is work with our legislative team here in Kansas City, both the Republicans in the Northland and the Democrats in the South, to force the state of Missouri to help us compete against Kansas, because we will continue to bleed those jobs. We will just continue to, or we will have other opportunities where we have to make the decision, earnings tax or not. But the only way we're really going to do something substantive is if Jefferson City listens to us and decides that their largest city is important enough to fight for. Right now, they're not prepared to do that. I am hopeful with a new council and a new mayor, we can plead that case so we don't have to make the decision like we had to.
Alan Dillingham, 2nd District at Large. We're talking about incentives here, but the real question here is, why do we have to give these incentives? I look at Kansas City, why shouldn't it be the place that everybody wants to do business, that everybody wants to start a business? We have to get our own house in order. We have to have a city hall that is not bickering up there. They're getting along. They're have a vision of where we need to be going. They build consensus, not only within the council, but also throughout the region, to pull people together and see what we can do. We have some amazing things going on in our city, but that's really been in spite of everything that's been going on in City Hall. It's time to clean that up and make sure that we have one vision that we're going after, we have our act cleaned up so we can do all that. And if we have that going, and we also have a small business mentality there, that we're trying to cut the red tape, we're trying to make sure that city departments are a partner and not a hoop that they have to go through, that they're thanking people for coming up and starting a business and helping them through the process. That's what we need, and we want to have this discussion on how we have to offer all these incentives.
Aaron Benefield, 2nd District. I agree with both of what they said. We had to give up the e-tax in order to retain the business, so we need to keep jobs in Kansas City as much as possible. But it just goes to show that we need to put together a plan. We need to look at how the city is administering its taxes. We need to look at how we're going to phase out that e-tax. Because here in the April, we're going to either vote it down or we're not going to vote it down. And right now, there is no plan in place to replace or to deal with the fact that it gets voted down. But if we get rid of a lot of the red tape that the city has right now, we'll be able to retain jobs and grow jobs. We need to make Kansas City the place where people want to come and not where they want to leave.